I wanted to talk about my art a little bit because this is a free country and I can do that. I've never really felt like comfortable or confident necessarily like talking about my art because I never felt like I was a skilled or like necessarily trained artist. I took art class in like elementary and middle school and, we do like little craft projects just for fun. And then it kind of stopped after that. And I've always had I've always enjoyed working with different materials. Like for a long time did like bullet journaling and really liked the sort of creative outlet that it sort of not only allowed for me to do, but like in some sense would force me to sit down with a journal, paper, pen, what have you, and put color or shapes or images or lines or whatever, arrange these kind of things together on paper. And I still bullet journal, but I really have lost the ritual of like sitting down and doing a monthly spread and decorating it, just because I actually don't know why I stopped doing that. I sort of lost time for it, or I don't know. But I've also simultaneously have kind of got back into art and exploring it for myself, letting whatever come to paper and I have fun with that, but I've never felt like the things that I make, like I always felt like they were lacking something, because I didn't know necessarily like how to draw or paint or whatever. I never felt like I was very good at like replicating images that I saw. All I felt confident and comfortable with was sort of just playing with different colors and compositions and shapes, I guess. So, and part of it is also like me comparing myself to other people who were very skilled at those sort of things, of being able to replicate certain shapes and images that we see in our real world. I never was able to do that, and so I felt like my art was like less than. But I'm really trying to change my relationship to art, and part of it is I'm kind of challenging myself a little bit and creating a goal for me to like do something or make something that I feel like is a complete sort of image, or something. I there's like something that I haven't yet sort of, that I feel like it's not clicking, and like I'm in a sense like self-taught. Like I don't take art classes. Sometimes I'll watch things on YouTube, tutorials, and I bought a couple books that I'm interested in getting into, but I'm also like scared to make that change into like, I know that it'll change my art in some sense or my application, and so there's this almost like fear of changing it. But these are just two little pieces that I just kind of cooked up last night. Actually, this one's still in the process of, this is not finished. This is just something I'm having a lot of fun with right now. But this was sort of my test because I want to put something in my kitchen. So I'm making some art for myself. This is something that I, would like to hang. So I was kind of using this piece as a sort of like test ground, and I actually ended up making something that I thought was really interesting. And I really didn't have a vision beforehand when I was making this of like what it was gonna be. Like I really just kind of let whatever come up, that I'd kind of get little bits of I want to see this shape in this way, and I put it there, and so this is what I came up with. But it's just so fun to me what comes through with things like this, because even though I don't necessarily feel like this is like my best work or anything, or it's not like necessarily something that I want to hang up in my apartment, like I have planned with this one. But with this one, I got like a really clear story through like what came through and like what was coming up and what I see now, and it feels like very relevant to like the world. Like I really feel like there's sort of this like almost what he wants to be part of the video. He has things to say, or maybe he just agrees, or I don't know. I feel like I have a really clear vision coming through, or a story almost coming through, and I see this theme coming up a lot in my art. And oh my goodness, now the cat has the zoomies. Okay. But I'm just having a lot of fun with playing around with my art and letting myself be an artist. Like, even though I don't necessarily feel like, oh, I am an artist in the way that I, you know, like have like a gallery showing, or I sell my art or whatever. Like, this for me is always just like a sort of self exploration and just sort of therapeutic practice, and just, I don't know, you know, this is like very much just for me and not for really anybody or anything else. It's not even necessarily to replicate anything. It's really just to put my hand to utensils, to paper, and to like get my goodness, what? Bro. Oh my gosh, he's going crazy right now. Anyways, I guess I just wanted to say I'm having a really fun time seeing my artwork sort of evolving and seeing different like patterns coming through. And for some reason I thought that having patterns in my art was like a bad thing, like it's repetitive and sort of just like I saw it as a negative thing, like, oh, I keep just making these lines, and like that's so simple and boring, like you know, that's not anything like special. But then as I'm like actually seeing it like come through again and again, like I see very particular sort of like I see these sort of like dots and lines as like people. Like to me these look like sort of people standing around, and to me this almost feels like protest, like this area, and this feels more like the sort of like 1% almost, not only the 1%, but it's also sort of like family units. And then there's this figure in the middle that feels like a person like reaching for something or causing some energy, and it's almost like this blood red like bleeding figure. And it also kind of looks a little bit to me it looks a little bit like female genitalia. So can I say that on YouTube? I don't know the actual word. It looks like a vagina, like just the lips, the opening. Okay, anyways. And yeah, I don't know, I'm just getting a story through this, and it feels kind of like you know, yourself sort of being like the bridge between these sort of structures and worlds. And yeah, I don't know, I'm sort of just transforming my idea of my art and trying to dissolve the sort of shame that surrounds it, because like there's no need to be having shame in the art we create. So that was my little like test one that I did, that I just find them really interesting. And so, you know, it leads me to believe, well, if I find it interesting, maybe other people would find it interesting too. But for some reason, I don't want to share it because I'm scared to. I'm scared that people see it and think, oh, that's like not good, or that's ugly, or she thinks she's doing something great, that it's not really that great. I don't know. And it doesn't, but the thing is, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what other people think. Like, this art is for me. But it's just like when I get into this thing of like sharing it with other people, I'm like, why am I sharing it with other people? Is it to get like validation? Is it to like, I don't know. Or is it to share it because someone else might also find it interesting? Because I like seeing other people's art that they create. Like, hello. So if I like seeing other people's art that they create, why wouldn't other people like to see the art I create? All right. So anyways, this one, I'm having a lot of fun with this one because I'm playing around a little bit more with trying to play a little bit with shading and stuff. That's like one sort of aspect of art, drawing, what have you, that painting that I don't feel like necessarily good at. So with this one, like as you can see in these kind of spaces, these were my original sort of just the straight up paint, the one color. Like I'm trying to add in more sort of dimension and adding in more colors to sort of just make it a little bit more visually interesting, I guess. I did have a little mess up here where I smeared it. One thing that I'm kind of really, I don't want to say I'm struggling with, but something that you know, not being like a trained artist, like not being in like any kind of like art school or art class, like I don't really know the best methods for working with different materials. Like one problem that I was encountering was like my brush. Well, one thing is I don't know how to properly like wash and take care of my brushes and how to dispose of paints and stuff. So like there's that. My brush would like dry out. Like I would get up to just like take a little break and I'd come up and my brush was already drying out, partially because it's like small and I'm working with acrylic, which dries really fast. But I do like this little thing that I sort of, I'm sure I'm not the only person who does this, but this was something that I sort of thought of on my own, is like taking different containers, like this is just like a pickle container, and using it for my water and palette, and this keeps your paints wet so you can come back to them, which I think is a beautiful thing. And it also kind of like is moistening. Like these two, I thought I was going to use these last night when I started this painting. I did not touch them. And this one was starting to kind of like dry out. And when I opened it this morning, it was like very wet and moist and like ready to go. And this even looks more moist too, where it was drying out before. But that was also like another problem I was encountering, was like, oh shit, my paint's drying out. This is affecting the way that my, you know, paint goes on. So I guess I'm kind of at a point where I'm like, like low key, if y'all want to give me, if anybody's watching this and wants to give me any advice, I'll take it. I'll take what I, you know, please teach me. Because I'm sorry, I can't like go to art school. Going to art school is like so like that. I can't do that right now. Like I mean, I guess I could, but for what? And I don't know. I guess I could. Anyways, one last little note about this is that as I was trying to decide what I wanted to put on this paint, I kind of knew like the color scheme that I wanted to go with, and I knew I wanted this like kind of light yellow sort of moment in the background. And I remember the other day I was at this like guided meditation, and I was going through my little journal and I saw this little sketch that I did that I was like, oh, that's fun. And so I wanted to sort of draw inspiration from this little sketch that I had done one day when I was at work that I forgot about. And I was just looking and I was like, wow, like this is actually pretty fun and interesting looking, but it was extremely hard to replicate. And I just think that kind of just goes to show my art style is just not based on like, I just can't replicate stuff. Like that is just not my strength. I mean, I did somewhat okay, like it is reminiscent of, but I just really struggled to sort of actually like replicate things. And I also didn't want it to be like exact, because these pages are different sizes, so I wouldn't have been able to do it like exactly, but I did, like, you can actually kind of see some of the previous pencil marks. That's one that I needed to erase, but yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to, one, like find a little bit more confidence in my art and not be so like hard on myself about it, especially considering my whole like thing is that it's like for me and not anyone else. Like I don't sell my art. Like art for me is a very casual, like just fun, relaxing thing that I honestly want to not like go into a thing where I have to produce a bunch to sell it, because I feel like that if I monetized this hobby of mine, it would take away a lot of the fun, and I don't want to do that to art. I've found that that happens for me a lot when I get into things, when I really like dive into learning more about them, like committing so much of my time and energy to like sort of mastering these skills or whatever, like going to school, putting like a monetary investment into it to also then receive a monetary return. It really messes with my relationship to whatever that is that I'm practicing. And so I just feel like, for me at least, art is a very like sacred thing that I don't really want to personally monetize off of it. Even though like in some sense it would be cool, like if people wanted to pay me to do these things, that's cool, but I feel so uncomfortable like putting myself out there and like asking for money for these things, because these are things to me that are so personal. Like yeah. So anyways, that's my little art ramble of the morning. Actually it's afternoon, but I was just enjoying getting back into some painting, some crafting. I've got like a bajillion works in progress. This is for this because I want to put it on a black frame, and I like recycling things. Like, so this is just like literally like a popsicle container. And I'm just going to use this as sort of a frame. I really enjoy using like recycled items. I have like a couple things up here. And this is also a wall that has a lot of my own art. Not all of it's my own art, but a good amount of it is. But I made these last summer, and I do kind of want to like rework them a little bit. Like there's a couple of things about it that I would kind of want to change, but I really enjoy using this sort of rough edge backing for it. And you know what the back of, you know, this is a toothpaste carton box, whatever, you know. Oh my gosh, I work in video production. You would think I'd be a better camera person, keeping things in frame and shit, but no. So anyways, yeah, I really like using recycled materials, using a variety of materials. This was just like a fun little piece that had a number of different random materials that I was just liking at that moment. So there's like some little rhinestones, some wire that I put in here just kind of for some metal touch, some yarn that I really enjoy, and then kind of again just that sort of random abstract background that is sort of just shapes and colors that I wanted to play with. And I know there's a word for this, but I can't think of what it is when you have a matching piece of art. So this is the other one that went with that. I almost like this one better. It looks like a person to me. Actually, maybe like two people. I don't know. But I also kind of want to, what I want to do is maybe like wrap some, I have like some smaller black string that I almost want to like wrap around the pink string, sort of, if that makes any sense. Anyways, that's my art. This is me. This is the artist. I'm in a very messy state right now. I have not gotten myself ready at all, but yeah, I just wanted to share this little check-in about some stuff I'm creating. I hope if you find yourself creating something that the juices flow and you are able to create something that you love or someone else loves. And if not, that's okay. Even if you don't like the way it looks, you can make other things and you'll probably eventually like something. So yeah,